Welcome. I'm Janelle Kolaski, a career mindset coach and actor.
And I'm Amanda Dubois, a self-authenticity and prosperity life coach and actor as well. And we're your co-host of Mindset Artistry YouTube channel,
where we teach you the art of discovering and using your mindset
to build a career and life you desire.
Thank you to everyone that have been coming to those workshops. We've been getting great feedback, like, oh, I'm feeling empowered and I'm really going for the goals. And, we love that. But also you inspire us to continue to be better and to continue to work on ourselves. And we have our own struggles. So this is something that I've definitely struggled with, is just the patience of believing in the seeds that you've planted. Because there's so many things that you can do to pursue your creative career. And Amanda and I guide you through that. And there's all these to-dos, and then you have to choose the biggest goals that will make the biggest impact. And then whenever you do that, then sometimes you have to wait, because you put all this energy and effort into doing the big thing, and you had all that bravery and courage and you did it, and still it doesn't seem like it's panning out. And so today I want to talk about that, because I want to encourage you to just know that these seeds that you've planted will sprout up in ways that you can't imagine, and sometimes even years down the road. So every seed that you plant is definitely not lost. Either it will result in a job immediately, or a connection now or later, or it taught you something. Maybe you won't get feedback from the outside, but it taught you about something about yourself and how to be more brave. So before we really break this down and how to work through this, just sticking it out and believing in these seeds, I would love to hear what you have to say, Amanda.
As far as seed planting, I would say everything happens for a reason. And even though it feels like we go through situations, things are a waste of time, nothing is a waste of time if you make it purposeful. It's all about perception. It's all about the lesson of it. Perfect example, I didn't think that my corporate job would ever serve me outside of being in that corporate environment, right? I left, I was like, not that I was miserable, but I didn't appreciate the lesson in the moment, because I was so focused on the outcome of my career, which was being an actor and like fulfilling that dream. And I dismissed the lesson and the tools that I was actually learning in that corporate job that now serves me to be able to do the thing that I want to do on a bigger scale, not only as an actor, but now a life coach, a podcast host, workshops, all these things are now. So that experience, I didn't know it at the time, served me 6, 7, 8 years later. So, just keeping that in mind, that nothing is without purpose.
Yes, I love that. And you can learn from all of it, like you're saying. And so to give an example, so we'll take these goals. For example, you're applying to jobs a week, different auditions for things, and you don't hear back from anything. Okay, continue that. But then maybe you have to take an extra step, and this is what I've learned. So you believe in the seed that you planted and it's happened, but you plant a seed in the garden, and you just don't sit there and you're like, it's like waiting for water to boil, right? It's like watching the water and like waiting for it to boil. It's such a waste of time. And so you need to do things and believe that they're doing their thing, and then taking it to the next step. Because if you just sit there and wait and agonize over the fact that the seed you planted isn't a full tree yet, you're not going to be able to get to where you need to go. So whenever I'm planting seeds, some of them, it's like, whoa, look at this beanstalk and all this money. This is amazing. And it happens like that. And then other times I'm like, well, that was a dud. And it actually isn't, as we just said. So then if it's not springing up right away, it's really important that you think about what's the next step. Okay, I don't physically see this tree, but what would be the next branch that would reach out and get me closer to my dreams? Okay, so maybe I've applied to work and I'm not hearing from anybody. Maybe I could reach out to people I've worked with in the past and see if they know anything that's going on. Or maybe I could look at the auditions that I've applied to, and I could follow up with those casting directors and producers on Instagram. It's just constantly finding ways to put energy and love and light towards that seed. You don't want to just like sit there and wait. So Amanda, I would love what you have to add onto that tactic.
Yeah, absolutely. I love everything you're saying. And also something came up for me is that you have to consciously be aware that you are in control of your life. And so when you're planting these seeds, understand that, like she said, It doesn't happen overnight. What requires for a garden to grow or anything? It requires nurturing. It requires nutrients. It requires care. It requires the sun. It requires constant water. It requires the bugs and the bees to do all the things. It takes a lot of these nuances, these little pieces to make this bigger, flourished, fruitful outcome. And so when you're in, also paying attention to the fact that you may be situations that may not be that may not be growing very quickly, it may also be steering you to redirect your energy into something that will. This is when you are consciously being aware of what you're desiring to achieve, right? So if you're desiring to be an actor, okay, well, you did your headshots, you did the research, you're doing all the things, you're meeting the casting directors, but you're not booking yet. Okay, fine. That means that something's missing, or that it's just not your time yet. The role hasn't come up yet. But what you're doing in that process, when you're intentionally planting these seeds, be careful how you're planting these seeds as well, with the intention that you're putting into it. If you're looking at it and planting an intention of like, I'm going to outdo her, well, you're putting a negative energy into that seed, and it's not going to flourish as much as you think. It actually is going to damage the rest of your garden. It's like poison that's going to leak into the rest of it. So if I plant a poisonous seed, but I have this flourishing career, and I'm planting this because I have the intention to outdo Janelle, then what happens is that plant may start growing, but it's going to start taking from the other ones, the fruitful stuff, the things that were purposeful, the things that were your individual gift, that was your uniqueness. So be careful about the intention that you are placing with these seeds. So, it's okay, fine, you're not booking right now, but how can you intentionally put your energy and remember your passion, remember your why, all those things into the journey of booking? Because when you book, there's still a journey after that. There's still the preparation. There's still the being on set, all those things. So remembering that just because you book something or you get one outcome, there are many other things that have to follow that. And sometimes that seed may not grow because you're not ready for that.
Oh yeah.
Yet. Maybe you're not ready for that flower to.
Yes, I love that. And that can be frustrating. I had two people say that to me in my lifetime. And I go, well, maybe you're not ready yet. And it's weird because it's that balance of, you need to try, you don't want to wait till you're ready. But then sometimes there's things. I had dinner with an 80-year-old friend last night. Hello. And I told him I was a little bummed about this or that, things going on in my own life. And he said, I think it's good, your trajectory, because if there were certain things that happened when you were younger, from what I know of you, I don't think it would have been the best. He said, I think you're really equipped now from all that you've gone through, that it's like, instead of stunting your growth because you have all of this life experience and you've been able to withstand the waves, whenever the really big stuff comes, you'll be ready. So I love that. So for people that are just joining, the first point we were making is plant the seed, intention, plant it well, and don't be standing over it and just waiting. Okay. So you planted the seed with good intention, you're doing the thing, and then some will spring up quickly. You'll see results right away. And then the other ones, maybe you have to do a couple more things along with like the same idea. Okay. So I would say really the second part of this, or maybe the final point, because there's really nothing much else to say other than get comfortable being uncomfortable. There's so much to be learned in that. There are things in my life right now I'm super annoyed with that I'm like, I planted the seed, I watered it, I did all the things. When? I'm like, okay. And it was things I asked for. There are certain things I want for my life, and I tell all of you all the time. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting something different. You can't want a different reality and stay in the current reality that you're in. It's science. It's quite literally impossible. So that means you're going to be uncomfortable. The thing that you want, that's very exciting, but you have to get uncomfortable to get there. So the best part of just believing in the seeds that you planted is in the waiting. Sometimes you're building up that endurance. And you're learning how to be uncomfortable. And it's really hard. Like for me to, I'm pretty impatient. I'm like, okay, just trust. Okay. Yep. It's been another week. Okay. The SAG strike, everything that's going on, whatever. There's a lot of work that you can do outside of the SAG strike. There are commercials and there's interim agreements. So remember that. But anything that feels like it's just taking a long time, instead of continuing to focus on it and staring at the dirt, sit with that feeling. sit with being uncomfortable and this idea of I'm out of control and I don't know what's going to happen or if my dreams will ever come true.
Yeah, I love that. I would say, you know, your belief, because I've been hearing this a lot lately and I woke up to it today, is your belief has to outweigh the fear. It has to outweigh the failure. Your belief in yourself and your capabilities. And if you don't know what your capabilities are, take the time to discover them, experiment, explore who you are internally, physically, mentally, emotionally, because all these challenges, the things that come up, maybe the seed not growing right now, are things that are making you aware of maybe what you need to work on. Maybe you need to shift your focus, because sometimes those seeds that you're focusing on one particular plant, but like a succulent, it takes sometimes years to grow, but it doesn't require much attention. So if you're actually overwatering that seed, if you're over paying attention to it, and as it is growing, you might kill it. You're not giving it time to breathe. You're not giving it time to nourish itself. You're not giving it time to grow. I think about that when I have plants and I noticed, I was overwatering it. I wasn't taking care of it. I wasn't paying attention to what it actually needed, and it started dying. And if I stepped back from it, I go, okay, I'm gonna give you some time to repair yourself. And it did. And that's the same thing with your seed planting. That's the same thing with intentionally living. That's the same thing with where you're putting your focus. So make sure that your fear your belief outweighs your fear. Understanding where you're putting your focus, and take a break, take a step back, look at the bigger picture of things. Maybe you're too close to what you're trying to get, and it's like looking at a canvas and you're looking like this and you only can see that one line, and even then your vision is going to be like skewed. But if you take a step back, right, exactly, all up in it, yes, it's going to be skewed. But if you take a step back, you can look at the whole picture and go, oh my gosh, look at that piece over there, look at that piece over there. So it allow yourself the freedom to step back, the freedom to understand where your focus and where your attention is, and understand that your belief has to outweigh your fear, and that it's possible. Everything that you want, everything that you desire, it just you have to give it time. Like anything else, like you said with the garden, you have to give it time. So tend to the things that need more attention, like your self-care. Maybe you aren't taking care of yourself, so when you show up to your job or your work, your mind is not clear enough to comprehend the things. You're overexhausted. Or you can't hold conversations with people, you're not being receptive, So those are the things, I gotta take care of my care. I gotta go to sleep a little bit earlier. So just taking inventory of your life, and how is that affecting your garden? How is that affecting your seeds?
Yes, I love this. And I hope that this is helpful to everybody that's been watching. Drop in the comments any questions you have, because we're wrapping it up. Anything you want to say about what we're talking about right now. But what I would really love for the takeaway to be is, please have that courage to plant the seed. Do it with the intention, like Amanda said. Give it the space or the water or wherever it needs. And then take the next step. Remember, some will spring up. The others, you just have to maybe take a different step to nurture them a little bit to make them grow more. And yeah, really that stillness and making sure you're taking care of yourself, and just believing that as long as you planted it with a good intention and you are taking steps forward, it's going to happen. Because as I say to everybody, if you have the desire, the dream is within reach. It's just true. You're not going to want to do something if you can't do it. With myself, with Amanda, with all of my clients, it just comes down to consistency and the plan. They're planting the seed, they're making the moves, they're taking care of themselves, and eventually things come up and things will surprise you. You'll be so distracted over here doing something that's like a little more joyful, maybe, because you stop staring at the ground like this, and then something will pop up. You won't even remember you planted that seed. You're like, how'd that person find me? Or where did I get this job from? And it is, to me, there was something like 9 years ago. I met someone 9 years ago, and now is the time for both of our work to align in this point of my journey. So all is not lost.
What are your thoughts about this episode?
Drop it in the comments and let us know what you want to dive into next.
Subscribe, like, share, and click the link below to book a free consultation. And
We'll see you next time.